see everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. I know you've heard this from other VR folks. It's now I try to say the same thing. It's so darn good to see you all again. You know, I mean, this is, you guys know me. This is what I do, what I want to be, where I want to be, seeing you guys. So it's a lot of fun. What's even more fun is that we've had this vehicle in our back pocket, if you will, for some time. And looking so forward to introducing you to really three different things. You've got this, the EV6, which is the first in a long line of electrified vehicles we're going to have. We have a new platform that this sits on top of, which is the E-GMP platform, which we're going to talk about in a second. Stay back here. And then a new design ethic as well. We call this Opposites United. And that was, when you do a little walk around in the car, you're gonna, I know it sounds a bit strange thing, Opposites United, how does that work? You're gonna see some design details that really kind of encapsulate. And this design spirit and this new idea that we have is something you're going to be seeing in all of our vehicles going forward. We have a new design chief engineer by the name of Javier, and this is his first baby, and he's very proud of it. And so we're looking forward to getting many more vehicles that have the same spirit. I think the best way to kind of describe what Opposites United means to consumers is something that came out of our presentation, or sorry, some of our clinics. They came back with three words when they saw this vehicle. They said, very technical looking, okay, that's for sure. Very progressive, very futuristic. You're making a vehicle, you might as well make it look good, make it look unique, so we've got that. And then iconic, which I find to be an interesting contrast with things like technical and progressive. You wouldn't normally say iconic as well. So I think Kareem's onto a great thing here. We're looking forward to getting you engaged with a lot more of this. As I talked about earlier, this is on a new E-GMP platform, is what we call it. It's the proverbial skateboard type one. I know you've seen it probably from our friends over at Hyundai, so I won't go into great detail on it, but we have a secret weapon. And those of you that know how much I love this brand know the name I'm about to say, and that's Albert Bierman. Mr. Bierman, I spoke with him probably better part of 2 years ago, and he said, oh, James, wait till you see what we're going to do in electrified cars. Because for Albert, who of course is a magician with handling setup and performance vehicles, for him to be able to get rid of the extra weight up front, have all this center of gravity down the center, have this low and lean platform, it's, as he said, it's been his dream for 30 years. And so he has been the man to put this together. Yes, he works on all of the Hyundai Motor Group cars, but he's got a special thing for the Kia stuff. And I think when you drive this, you're gonna feel his spirit come through in a very strong way. The E-GMP platform, obviously very modular, can be lengthened, can be shortened, can be widened. This particular setup here, the wheelbase is longer than that of the Telluride. And I think that's one of the things that catch people out when they first saw images of the vehicle. They said, oh, it looks like it could be like a, like a Forte type size. But as you can see, as I'm standing next to it, it's a large vehicle. It's kind of more like our Stinger in a sense, in that it's the 5-door design, but because we have this very long wheelbase, very short overhangs, it allows the interior space to be incredibly, with great amount of utility, but then still put it into a kind of a tight skin that really gives it a spirit that I think people are going to be surprised. It's one of those cars I think when you first see it on the road the first time, you're going to remember where you were. Again, being Mr. Bierman, this is a rear-wheel drive platform with an all-wheel drive option with an additional electric motor in the front. Battery sizes on this platform can range anywhere from 45 kilowatt hours to 100 kilowatt hours. We'll talk a little bit about what's underneath the EV6 in a moment, but that just shows you the range of vehicles that we're going to have available all on this platform. From additional, maybe smaller sports cars through delivery type vehicles, it's all going to be here on the E-GMP. I was just going to kind of summarize here. We've got a fantastic design spirit that has not been seen in any of our vehicles yet, but is going to be the future of Kia, without a question. You've got that crossover simplicity and utility, easy ingress and egress, flat floors, lots of interior space. So you've got this again emotional vehicle put together in something that's going to be very easy and simple to use. And this particular one here was 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds. But we've got something else coming out soon, the GT model, which we'll talk about in a second, which is going to be, well, let's just say my friends at Hyundai are a little disappointed that they didn't get that one. So. Kia is often seen as the crazy little brother in our family, and the EV6 GT is definitely going to be one to put that together. Vehicles that we like to compare this against and put it up against are the Mustang Mach-E, for obvious reasons, being kind of more the utility space like this. The Jaguar I-Pace gets a lot of attention, or a lot of comparisons to that based on its kind of low-slung platform, and the Audi e-tron Sportback. Interestingly, you know, the Mustang Mach-E, our ground clearance is 1.5 inches higher than the Mach-E, but yet it's conceived and seen as a bit of a crossover type vehicle. Not as much as our EV6 in this case. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about the design here. We'll come around here to the front. Hopefully I don't cause any feedback. First off, you'll notice the very familiar tiger face grille continues on, but now we're calling it the digital tiger face, if you will. We have this fantastic new DRL signature here with this kind of segmented LEDs, all LED headlamps, of course. In fact, every bulb on the vehicle is LED. Obviously for efficiency purposes, but also because, well, let's just be fair, it looks a lot cooler too. The way you're really going to be able to notice the difference between the EX and the GT line and the GT is here in this front fascia. This is a GT line version here. The EX is more of a kind of a rounded front, and then the GT has what I like to call little LED fangs right here. So it's almost like a snake, if you will. But again, that front view, and then the way we have this clamshell hood built in here. You know, all the cut lines all make sense. I don't know about you, but I get a little nuts when I see how cut lines are set aside on certain vehicles, and you realize that the engineers had play more than the designers. When you spend some time letting your eyes kind of fall around this car, you see that the cut lines all make a lot of sense. The blacked out A-pillar here, really kind of highlighting this very fast windshield shape, goes into this floating roof all across here. And there's some really cool little LEDs that actually illuminate this space here because, let's be fair, this is a beautiful shape right here. So we wanted to make sure that that was illustrated. For those of you that are design aficionados, you know that the best proportion is 1/3 to 2/3 DLO to body sign. And that's exactly what we have here. So again, the engineers and what Korea Mabib is doing with our team here in Korea, and also our buildings here in Europe and in California are really knocking it out of the park. Let's see, we'll come around the back here real quick. This is the view that most people are going to be spending most of their time seeing. This is rear three-quarter, and this is completely distinct in the industry right now. There's other brands that might be running with some kind of, you know, what we call the halo design that comes across here. But again, we talk about unity and synchronicity in design. We've got this fantastic line that comes across here, drops all the way cleanly across here, and then carries on across the front. It has a tendency of kind of lowering and stretching out the base, giving it more a wider platform. But again, your eye just naturally catches this line and it goes across. All these little LED segments here across, very unique in the industry. Right here is where the charge point is. We'll talk in a second about how the charging this has what we call V2L. So you can actually run a fully charged vehicle. You can run camping equipment for about 36 hours. Whether it's a projector or pumping up a mattress or going to the beach and pumping up beach balls, whatever you may want to do, it's all available to you through there. And I think if I was going to really leave anything about opposites united to you and what that means in the design, I think for me it really is encapsulated right here. You have this hard edge here from the light, which obviously is providing aerodynamics. By the way, the coefficient of driving the vehicle is 0.28, so it's a very slippery shape. But you have not only this hard edge here, which is more technical and more aggressive, but then it's kind of nicely up against this more skin-like or kind of reverse concave shape in here. So it's something that I think people will start to really identify with the Kia brand. It's got the hard edges that people expect from SUVs or more utility type vehicles, but the sensuousness that they see in sports cars. And I think, again, we talked about earlier, iconic yet futuristic. How do those two things fit? Well, it does when you have this kind of design working for you. We get some of the technical side here. On the base EX model is a 58 kilowatt hour battery attached to a rear motor that's 160 kilowatt. The EX Plus and GT line then jump up to a 77 kilowatt hour battery, running the same 160 kilowatt motor. The all-wheel drive then has a 70 kilowatt front motor with 160 in the rear, also running off that 77.4 kilowatt hour battery. And then the GT model, which I'm not supposed to tell you too much about. Oh, look at this guy leaning in. I knew that was going to happen. You're running a 77 kilowatt in the front motor. 77 kilowatt hour battery pack in general, 160 kilowatt front motor, and a 270 kilowatt back. So looking at about 550 some horsepower coming on that model. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, when you think about not only that we have this kind of power setup, but it's done by Albert Bierman. I can't say enough about Albert Bierman's impact on the Kia brand, probably even more so than Hyundai, but don't tell myself that. On the interior, we'll talk briefly about it. I know it's hard to get hopefully you can all get a chance to come up here afterwards. This is where a lot of our sustainability story comes in. We're using a lot of recycled plastics on the door panels, up on here on the top. And again, being off an electric platform, as you all know very well, lots of maximized interior space. Two big screens on the side there. Kia doesn't do technology unless it contributes to ease of use and safety. And that's something I think that's really important because, let's be fair, a lot of the other car companies are getting into screen games, right? How big are they? How much stuff can you do with them? We want the screen to be complementary and safe to your drive and be a place that's going to support you as opposed to entertain you, if you will. Also, I think it's interesting, the screens have blue light filters on them. Again, all trying to pull away from the idea of all this technology coming at you and pulling you away from the drive. Also, we're really excited about a new augmented reality heads-up display that you'll find in this car. That I don't know about you, but there's a lot of times where I'll be in a car and say turn right to the next light or the next stop sign or something, and you go, oh, it was that way. Nobody's ever done that? Okay, never mind. Well, this solves that problem for me. We'll leave it there. In that it's, again, a very large 3D augmented reality heads-up display that will provide you with all the information you need. Again, technology for the sake of not making you safer or more enjoy your drive is never going to be seen on any Kia vehicle going across. So last couple points here on this, the GT line in the EX model, 300-mile range on a fast charge will be up to 80% of a charge in about 210 miles in 18 minutes. 70 miles in 5 minutes. And if you've been paying attention to the government lately, we have a lot of infrastructure conversations going on right now, so you're going to see more and more of that fast charging availability coming together, which is really exciting. And I think for most people, especially those that maybe don't have homes where they can charge, this is going to open up the EV space to a whole new buyer. Lots of amazing technology, again, that's only there to support the drive, to support the safety. It's not there just to, to be the biggest screen or the brightest light or so forth. And amazing durability and quality. I'll leave you with a little story. We have something on here that's very specific. It's not very sexy, but it's interesting. It's a special heat pump. You know, when you're running in an electric vehicle, especially in colder climates like where we are, not today, but can be, the impact of of cold can impact the battery's usability in a big way. So we've developed our own in-house heat pump, which not only draws additional scavenges heat from different componentry within the vehicle, but then modulates the use of that heat to not only keep the battery in the most comfortable state, but more importantly, keep the passengers comfortable and happy, maintaining the best range possible, and pulling the least amount of power and cold weather impact away from the vehicle. So that is pretty much all I've got to say. If you have any questions, I've got more information here, or you're welcome to come on up aboard and have a sneak around. Thank you all for your time. Much appreciated.